perspectives of motivation. And note, importantly, that the words that are used in these perspectives carry different meaning in psychology than they do in our casual language. So we have instinct, drive, and arousal theory, as well as Maslow's hierarchy of needs or hierarchy of motives. It's very important to note that when we talk about these words in psychology, they have unique and specific meanings. So I'll talk about each one that you might have used in other contexts is drive. And the thing to remember about drive theory is that it's limited to biological states of tension arising from biological needs. So we use this word all the time for things that are not biological, like a drive to succeed, which you might have that drive to succeed, but it doesn't fit our psychological definition, where a drive is a biological state of tension arising from a biological need, like hunger or thirst. So drive reduction theory refers to the idea that because we're motivated to maintain homeostasis or balance within the body, when, for example, our fluid balance is off, we'll be motivated to resolve that by getting water. So you have a biological need that causes the biological state of tension, and then you engage in behaviors to reduce that tension or to reduce that drive. And so you can be pushed to eat food because of your drive of hunger. But things in the environment can also pull you to that behavior. If I brought in a big platter of freshly baked cookies and you could smell them in the room, that would be an incentive, something in the environment that would pull you, because it's from outside of you, it will pull you to eat those cookies and reduce those drives. But notice, drives have to be biological. If it's not a biological state of tension arising from a biological need, virtually anything you do could be explained as a drive, right? You could have a drive to go to the mall and buy 3 shirts, so we can't use it for things that are not biological states of tension arising. We've used the word instinct, but in psychology, instinct has a very specific meaning. It's a fixed and unlearned pattern of behavior which would be shown by all members of a species, all of them, in response to a sign stimulus. So it doesn't refer to when we talk, for example, about a maternal instinct. And women certainly have a drive to protect their children, right? Nobody would deny that. Most women do, and in fact, if you don't, there tends to be something we can diagnose about you. But I've used the example before of when I'm in the park with my kids and there's a guy there who didn't seem to bring any kids and doesn't seem to have any business there. That makes me a little nervous. Sorry to stereotype the men in the room. But a couple of times I've just left when there's a guy in the park who makes me uncomfortable. Riverside Park was the last time that happened. I think the guy was doing drugs in his car, so there's that. So we just left. But another mom might want to go up and introduce herself, ask the guy if he's waiting for someone. She might have a different reaction. We don't all do the same bizarre dance and clack in the same way because we feel threatened. So like the male stickleback fish is instinctively driven to attack the red underbelly of another fish. Birds know to peck at the red speck on their mother's beak to get food. Birds know to build the type of nest that's characteristic of their species. They'll build that nest even if no other bird shows them how to do it. They'll learn the song that's characteristic of their species even if they're reared in isolation. They're genetically programmed to do those things. But although some birds can mimic sounds they hear, and learn to talk, quote unquote, birds can't learn to build a different nest. You couldn't, no matter what you tried, teach the bird to build a tree house for your kid to play in. They don't have that flexibility because their behaviors are genetically programmed, their instincts. So do human beings have instincts that fit that behavior? Does a lot of our behavior fit that definition? No. Virtually none. Our behaviors are complex and voluntary. While we might have a genetic or evolutionary inclination to protect ourselves, to engage in certain behaviors, we don't perform fixed, unlearned patterns of behavior that are exactly the same by all members of a species in a given situation. And that's what an instinct is. Some reflexes seem to fit that definition, but they're not complex. So they really aren't instincts, they're just reflexes.